When you talk about Broadway boxing, you can't talk about Broadway boxing without Andre Rozier. Andre Rozier was instrumental in bringing a lot of the fighters like the Chin Checkers and other fighters, Gary Starks Jr., Jermaine Joe Green, Marcus Brown, and others in these Broadway boxing shows that started in 2003. Now here we are 21 years later, still doing this.
It's my life passion. What can I say? Fire. You know, it's what Uncle Dre does.
I see you in the corner, Earl Newman.
Yes.
Tell us about that fight and your thoughts on the outcome.
Well, we only had 3 weeks to get ready. He came out of nowhere. I mean, literally, no training, no anything. He said, Uncle Dre, if fight is on the table, I feel I could win. I said, well, we're going to work as hard as we can. We didn't have enough time to get ready for it. That's the bottom line. But I think that with the correct amount of training, the allotted time that we needed, Earl could have turned that bout completely around. But Forrest did what he had to do to win. I'm not going to take anything away from him. It was a good performance out of Forrest. But I expected a lot more out of Earl.
Give us your thoughts on tonight's main event with Mio Yoshida and Yoshida-Metcalf.
Oh, I was just talking to my daughter, and we felt that it was a close fight. It really was close. I thought that Mimi did enough to actually win, but as my daughter did say, interpretation's everything. It depends on what you're looking at and what you're perceiving from the bout. Metcalf was pumping the jab, she was throwing shots. Not a lot of them landed, really, to tell you the truth. But Mimi was more methodical, waiting until that moment where she could get something off. If she was maybe a little bit busier, I think it might have swayed the judges a bit more. But everybody's different. I thought that Mimi won.
I thought that she pulled out a close one as well.
Yes.
But again, perception is on the judge's side.
Exactly.
But some of those cards you have to question. 99.
99, 91. I was like, who went to the bar and started drinking early? What was going on here? There was a lot of beer.
Who went during the fight?
Exactly.
Let's talk about November 15. November 15, Jake Paul is fighting Mike Tyson. But on the undercard is our very own Brownsville's Shoo Bruce Carrington.
Exactly.
Tell us about the exposure that this could do for a guy like Bruce Carrington, who, by the way, just came out of a tough fight with Segawa.
Yes,
Talk to us about that fight.
Listen, this is going to be the biggest platform that Shoo could ever be on. I mean, ridiculously huge. It's going to be massive exposure. He should reap the rewards from this and learn from the last fight that he had to not take any opponent for granted. Don't let the hype hit you early. He knows that's a Brownsville trait, and sometimes you fall on your butt doing it. So I had a good talk with him. He said, Uncle, I'm going to get on my point. And I know he will. He should be very, very sharp for this next one coming up because he knows things could be at any minute that close.
Talk to us about Mike Tyson taking this fight at the age that he's at today.
I think that although he's 58, the parameters that we're working with now with Mike and Jake Paul make it a point of conjecture. Me, myself, I think Mike, if this is not a setup situation, if it's not a foregone conclusion, I think Mike smokes him. Even with 14-ounce gloves on. That's just my opinion. I'm Brownsville born. I'm a Mike Tyson. He's a good friend of mine. I think that Mike Tyson's going to steamroll him.
Let's talk about Kostya Tszyu's son, Tim Tszyu. He was in tough with Sebastian Fundora, then came back and faced a 154-pound champion, Israel Mazdovayev.
Something like that.
Tell us about your fight, and were you surprised of the outcome?
I was very surprised. But honestly, to tell you the truth, Fire, I didn't know who this young man was. I didn't know. he showed me that he was ready to be one of the very best at 154. Unbelievable. Size, power, accuracy, unbelievable. Trouble at 154.
What's the latest with you? What can we expect from Havoc Boxing?
I'm going to Qatar November 21st. Slim is fighting Gibbs on the Misfits card. The YouTubers are going at it. And we're going out there to knock his ass out because he's a rude little bastard. And Slim said, Uncle, don't worry. I'm going to effect the change and make him understand that you have to learn some goddamn manners.
Let me bring that up for a second because I saw that exchange between you and Slim. Now, you've been in this business for quite some time. You've been across the ring from many of opponents. How did you let that guy get you out of your game?
Well, you know, initially, you got to remember, nephew, I'm from Brownsville. I never ran and I never will.
Roger that.
When you come with some rude ass attitude and rude ass conversation, you gonna get rude back 4 times over. And you know how I am. I'm a smooth operator. I keep it cool, keep it calm. I went to shake this young man's hand and he told me my fighters are trash, they lose, you this, that, and the other thing. I'm gonna knock your kid out. You're not anything. I had to open up on him. I couldn't let that stand. I couldn't. That's why I told him at the press conference, I need to put you over my knees and beat your little rude ass. And I should, but I'll let Slim do that.
Last question. In this building, we watched Danny Jacob capture his 4th Golden Glove title, and then he went on to a professional career that included world titles 2 times over and major fights with Caliplant and Canelo Alvarez. He's just recently retired. I know there's some sentiment with you. You've had him since he was a youngin'.
Yeah.
Share with us your sentiment about him, his career, being able to work with him, and his retirement.
Well, Danny, like Saddam, like Curtis, like Anthony Hines, like Joe Green, like Louis Collazo, they are babies. And we watch these babies grow up. And Danny was a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal fighter. 2 world titles, fought cancer, the most aggressive opponent he ever had to deal with. And not only did he deal with it, but he won. Went on, I consider his career stellar. Nobody's done what he's done. Nobody. And I think that eventually he might get a nod for the Hall of Fame. I think he deserves it because, once again, what he did was phenomenal. And I'm very proud of him. I'm glad when he told me, I don't want to do this anymore. I said, that's all right, son. I said, just win this fight. Yeah, win this fight, then we can go ahead and talk about it. He didn't win the fight, but I knew that he didn't want to be there anymore. So I was cool with that. I'm happy. We got it off. He's happy now. I think he should go into commentation and working with as many networks as he can because he's very good on the microphone. And just keep flourishing.
Yes.
His success is judged by all the accomplishments, and he's accomplished a lot. So I'm happy.
And so have you, and I know you're not done, and I'm happy, and we appreciate you as always. Thank you.
Let me tell you something. Listen, we do what we do because we love it, but we did it because we had to make directions for these kids before we lost them to the streets. We didn't. We were strong enough. We worked hard enough. We were diligent enough to be father figures, not just coaches, not just trainers, but father figures and family figures. And that's what we do. Before I leave, remember, Havoc is up in this house. We are in the hurt business. And somebody gonna get hurt up in here. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thank you. We appreciate that, my brother.
No doubt.